Good morning, everyone. Today I'd like to explain to you the distributive property of multiplication. I know this is a very big word. I'm going to explain it to you now. What is important to know beforehand is the meaning of the word distribute, and then you must know your tables. Okay, so if we look at this word here, to distribute means to hand out and share. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to take our numbers and we're going to hand out, we're going to spread out the value. So if we look at the 3-digit number here, 547, so I'm going to spread it out or hand out. I'm going to hand out the hundreds and the tens and the units. Okay, so what I want you to burn into your memory is you're going to need the expanded notation here. Okay, and how to write numbers in expanded notation. And remember, in my first lessons, we looked at how to write numbers in expanded notations. You can't remember, go back to them. Okay. Right, so let's see. We're going to multiply and we're going to use the expanded notation. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So we're going to have two numbers that multiply with one another, a 3-digit and a 2-digit. So you're going to expand both numbers. So you can see in the next step, in brackets, the first number is expanded. So it's written in the hundreds, tens, and units. And then the next number is also expanded, but it's a 2-digit number, so it's expanded into tens and units. Okay, so that's the first step. So this is number 1. Right, so when you multiply using the distributive method, then you take the first number and you multiply it with both numbers in the second bracket. And that you do the same with the other two numbers. So you take the 40 and you multiply it with both 40 and with 5. And then you take the 7 and you multiply both with 40 and with 5. And then all the answers you're going to add up together, and then you will get to your final answer. Now you might ask me, why do we need to take such a long route to multiply or use this method? You will see when you get older, when you go to grade 7 and 8 and 9, when you start using algebra, this is the method that they use. Now, algebra is mathematics with letters, okay? So it's not with numbers. It's like multiplying A and B and C. So that's when this method comes in very, very handy. And if you know this method now, you will not have a problem with using it then. Okay, so we're going to do an example of one like that. Okay, so here we have 659 times 23. So the first step is to expand the numbers, to break them up. So I'm going to use brackets for my first one. So this is 600 plus 50 plus 9. Okay, and I'm multiplying. Okay, remember this multiplication that we are using here. And then I take the second number and I break it up. Now it's only tens and units, so it's 20 plus 3. And now I'm going to use different colors so that I can keep up with what I'm writing here. So I'm going to take the 600 and I'm going to multiply it with 20, and I will multiply it with 3. Okay, so on this side here, I'm just going to show you, if you find this hard to multiply, there's a very easy method to use here. So let's start with 600 times 20, okay? And now we're just going to draw your attention to something, another example. Let's say, make it even simpler, 100 times 10. Now, if I cover that, whom of you know what is 100 times 10? All of us know that that is 1,000. Now, look at your numbers that you are multiplying. Look at the number of zeros you have. 1, 2, and then there's another one there. How many zeros does your answer have? Okay, there are 3. So that means if I have numbers with zeros at the end, so like 100 and a 10, then my answer will have the same amount of zeros. Okay, so here is 1, 2, 3. So my answer will have 3 zeros. So that's the same for working out a question like this. First of all, you need to know what is 6 times 2. Okay, so this is 12, and then you go count how many zeros do you have in your question. So it's 1, 2, and a third one there. So your answer will have 3 zeros. So your answer is 12,000. Okay. Right. So now we know 600 times 20 is 12,000. So I'm going to write that here. 12,000. Okay, so now I still need to go and say 600 times 3. So what is 6 times 3? That's 18. And how many zeros does that multiplication have? There's only 2. So I'm going to say 18 with 2 zeros. So that's 1,800. Okay, now the next step is to take the 50 and multiply it with both numbers. So it's 50 times 20 and 50 times 3. So 50 times 20. So 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, 10. And then how many zeros do you have in both in the numbers? There will be 2 numbers added on. So your answer will have 3 zeros now. So 50 times 20 is 1,000. Then you will ask yourself, okay, what's 50 times 3? And then that is 150. So 5 times 3 is 15, and you have 1 zero there that's going to be attached to the end. Okay, and now I still have 9 there. 9 times 20 and 9 times 3. 9 times 20, that is 180. And 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, so now if you look at this example, you will see what they did is they grouped the values that are more or less the same together. So I want you to find the number or the value that is the highest. So I want you to think of 10,000s and thousands and hundreds and tens and units. Okay, so in this sum here, there's a 10,000. So take it away from the 12,000. So write it on its own. 10,000. Okay, are there any other 10,000s? No, there's not. So now we're going to find all the thousands. So there's 1,000, here's 1,000, there's 1,000. So I'm going to put them together. So it's 2,000 plus 1,000 plus 1,000. And now I'm going to look out for all the hundreds. So there's 800, there's 100, and there's 100. So this is 800 and 100 and another 100. And now you can also hear in the background my favorite dog from one of the neighbors. And luckily he's quiet now. Okay. Right, so let's just go back. So I took the 2,000, I took the 1,000, I took the 1,000. Now I looked for the 100. So there's 100, there's 100, and there's 100. And now I'm done with the hundreds. I want to find all the 10s. So there's a 50, and there's a 80, and there's a 20. So it's 50 plus 80 plus 20. Okay, and then I look out for all the units. So plus 7. Right, so then now I'm just going to simplify this a little bit. I'm still going to write that 10,000 here. Plus, and I'm just going to add all the thousands together. So it's 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And then 800, 900, 1,000. And then 50 plus 80 plus 20, and that's 150. And then plus that 7. And now we can add it up again and find our final answer. Okay, so just pay attention. Here you've got 2,000s written here. That's a 4,000 and a 1,000. So that makes 5,000. So your answer will be 15, that 10,000, 15,157. And then when you're done, you can take your calculator and you can check whether you've worked correctly. Okay, so we're going to look at another example of using the distributive property with multiplication, but we can actually divide it into two methods, two groups of methods. So the one is when you use addition, when you add, and the other one is when you use subtraction. Okay, so that's the next page I'm going to show you. So the one that we're going to do now is not different from what I've just explained to you. Okay. But I want you to pay attention to the 2-digit number. So like we've done before, is when we added, we said what 10 plus what unit equals 45. So it's 40 plus 5 equals 45. Okay, so that is, this part is where we refer to using addition. Okay, that's with the second number. Okay, so we're going to do another example. Okay, so remember, first step is to break up the numbers. So we're going to look at the first number, 200 plus 30 plus 5 times, and then the second number. Now remember, it's addition, so you need to say what 10 plus which unit equals 36. So that will be 30 plus 6. Okay, and now we're going to take each number in the first bracket and multiply it with each number in the second bracket. So you're going to say 200 times 30 and 200 times 6. Now 200 times 30, remember 2 times 3 is 6, and then how many zeros will your answer have? It will have 3 zeros, so that will be 6,000. Then 200 times 6, 2 times 6 is 12, and your answer will have 2 zeros, so that's 1,200. Okay, and now we go to the next number, 30 times 30 and 30 times 6. So 30 times 30, 3 times 3 is 9, with how many zeros? 2 zeros, so that's 900. Okay, plus, and then 30 times 6 is 180. And now we go to the last one, the 5 times 30 and 5 times 6. So 5 times 30 is 150, and 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, now we go to the next step, and we're going to organize all the thousands together, the hundreds together, the tens together, and the units together. So I want you to find all the thousands first. So we've got 6,000 here, plus there's 1,000 there. Okay, and there are no other thousands. So now we go to the hundreds. We've got 200 here. We have a 900 there. We have 100 here. And another 100 there by 150. Okay, now, and there are no more hundreds left. So now you go to the 10. So here we have 80 plus, and that 10 is 50. Plus that 10 is 30, and there are no units. Okay, so now you just add the ones that fall into the same category together. So 6,000 plus 1,000 is 7,000, plus, and then 200 plus 900 is 1,100, plus those 200s there is 1,300, plus, and then 80 plus 50 plus 30, that's like saying 80 plus 80, and that is 160. Okay, and now we can add them together. So that 7,000 plus that 1,000 is 8,000, and the 300 plus the 100 is 400, and then you have the 60. So it's 8,460. Okay. Again, you can go to your calculator and you can check your answer. Remember to use the steps that we've been following. So first of all, break up your number, then write your answers out, and then you can group your numbers according to the place values, thousands, hundreds, and tens, and then you add them together. Okay, so now we're going to look at using subtraction. Okay. So we look at the same example, the same numbers, but the difference is now you're going to think of a 10 that is subtracted from a unit that's subtracted from a 10 that will equal 45. So what 10 will that be? That will be the next 10 after 40. That will be 50. So 50 minus what equals 45? That will be 5. 50 minus 5 is 45. So when you are doing the addition method, you are using the lower 10, that 40, and then you add the unit plus the 5. But when you are using the subtraction method, you use the next 10 after after the 10 that you have here, which is 50 in this case. And then you ask yourself, minus what equals 45? So it's 50 minus 5. Okay, and then what is important, then you break up the first number again into its different values. So what I want to point out is this step as well. Okay, so when we minus, then we need to be careful. You're going to multiply, like we've done in the previous example, the 500 with both numbers, but now the answers of the 500 times the 50 and the 500 times the 5, you're going to subtract from one another in the brackets. And then 40 times 50 and 40 times 5, the answers are here, 2,200, and you will be minusing the answers from one another. The same with the 7. 7 times 50 is 350, and 7 times 5 is 35, and you will subtract them from one another. And then you will get answers for your brackets, which you will add up, and then you will end up with your final answer. Okay, so now let's try and do this together. Okay, so then we've got 200, we are breaking up the numbers, plus 30 plus 5 times, and now be careful, you are minusing, okay? You're going to be subtracting. So think of the next 10 after 30. So the next 10 after 30 is 40. So what minus 40 equals 36? That is 4. 40 minus 4 equals 36. Right, now we're going to use the distributive method again. Take the first number, multiply it with the first number in the second bracket and with the second number in the second bracket. And then write your answers in brackets. Okay, so 200 times 40, you will have 2 times 4 is 8 with 3 zeros as your answer. That is 8,000. And now you're going to say minus 200 times 4, that is 800. Okay, close the bracket. Then you're going to add the answer to the next one. Now we're going to say 30 times 40 and 30 times 4. So 30 times 40 is 1,200 minus 30 times 4 is 120. Okay. And then lastly, you're going to say 5 times 40 and 5 times 4. So 5 times 40 is 200 and 5 times 4 is 20, so it's minus 20. Okay. Right, so now we just need to go calculate what is 8,000 minus 800, and that would be 7,200 plus 1,200 minus 120, so that will be 1,080 plus 200 minus 20, so that will be 180. Now if you like breaking them up and just to order them and to keep track with what you are doing, we're going to look for the highest values again, the 1,000. So this is 7,000 plus, and there's 1,000 there, 1,000 plus. Now look out for the hundreds. There's 200. No hundreds here, but there's 100 there. Plus 80, and then plus 80 again. Okay, and now you can add this together. You can start with the highest numbers, but you can also start from the back. Okay, so we've got 80 plus 80 is 160. 100 plus 200 is 300. And then 1,000 plus 7,000 is 8,000. When you start from the smallest values and you work towards the bigger values on the left-hand side, that helps you not to make unnecessary mistakes, because if you start with the highest values, you can sometimes miss something and then make a mistake unnecessarily. Okay, right, so then 8,000 plus 300 plus 160, that will be 8,000, and 300 and 100 makes 400, and then we've got 60. Okay, let me just go back there because I noticed that you couldn't see that. So what we've done is we took the thousands out and we took the hundreds out and the tens. Okay, So I said to you, I want you to work from the back towards the highest number. So I started with 80 plus 80 is 160. And then the hundreds, 100 plus 200 is 300. And then the 1000 plus the 7000 is 8000. And then you add them up again. Remember, there are 200s here that you need to look out for, the 300 and the 100. So that's 400 in your answer. Okay, and then you test your answer again with using your calculator. But there's something interesting I'd like to show you. Okay, so we used two methods with distributive property. We used addition and we used subtraction. Where did we use it? We used it with the second number that we multiply with. Okay. Here we said 40 minus 4, which equals 36. And with the first one, with the addition method, we said 30 plus 6. And if you pay attention, you will see we used the same numbers to multiply with in both examples. And then we ended up with the same answer. Okay, so what is nice about these two methods are that when you reach your end, when you reach the final answer, you can see that they will be the same, but the method is just a little bit different. Okay, now your homework. I would like you to go to page 87 in your DBE book, and then I'd like you to do number 2, A, B, C, and D, and then page 89, number 5, A, B, C, and D. And remember the notes. Please use the method that I'm teaching you because you need to get used to it. Do not use your own method, and then check your answers with a calculator after completing the work. Right, good luck, and I hope you enjoy this method.